So welcome to the St. Louis podcast for June 9th, 2023. I'm your only glorious host here today as Garrett Atkins is out sick. My name is Eric Brown. I'm the CEO
Did you say June 9th?
Yeah, for Friday.
June 9th?
For Friday.
June 9th. We're sticking to June 9th. I'm your host, Eric Brown, the CEO of an award-winning and fastest-growing marketing agency, founder of the studio we are sitting in right now, chairman of a holding company that owns multiple home service company, writer for Forbes via the Forbes Agency Council, and I'm not alongside my glorious host, Garrett Atkins. He's out with Atkins disease today. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and DM Garrett. Today, we have on Chance Weber, the founder and president of Agile Co., business consultant and public speaker on the St. Louis podcast, and we're going to get into the weeds with him and his business. But before we do, this is the St. Louis podcast, where each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, we drop an episode on all major podcasting, audio and video platforms such as Spotify, Apple, YouTube, major social media platforms, and more, where we meet with the most badass people and creators to talk about business, entrepreneurship, and current events. You can watch the show live or later on youtube.com/the St. Louis podcast, just like Katie Baker and Matt Parker are right now. Now let's jump into it. Chance, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We just had a good discussion before this, so I'm glad to hop into it and get started here. Once again, Chance Weber, founder, president of Agile Co., live in St. Louis with his wife and 2 children. Serial entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in the marketing industry. Turned his 483 credit score now into, what did you just say, 835 to get a boat?
Yeah, I think I got pulled a couple months ago to 835. I think we did some work there.
That's a big improvement. Into a digital marketing agency that has surpassed 8 figures in annual revenue. Congrats on that. That's awesome. Balances CEO responsibilities, speaking engagements, podcast appearances, TV shows, and more. With that said, why don't you take us into your personal background and upbringing? You know, how did that set you up for success? Because a lot of the time it seems like entrepreneurs kind of go 2 different ways. Either they have kind of like a struggle story, or they usually were around family members that had businesses. It seems like it's kind of one of those 2 things.
Yeah, I definitely come from the struggle story. No questions asked. Grew up single mom. Parents got divorced when I was very young. Definitely didn't have the storybook childhood by any means. Rough times, very low income. I think the house I grew up in was like $30,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
I think my mom sold it like 20 years later for $70,000. So
it's a nice return.
It was a nice return over 20, maybe closer to 30 years. It was a long run, but yeah, man, I wouldn't say, I'm not one of these people that's going to sit here and say I had the worst childhood ever, because you hear some of these stories of some people and you're like, holy shit, like
we've heard him on this podcast.
Wow, I had it great, but it was definitely not pretty at times. Definitely rough. The one thing I'll say about my childhood and how it's evolved and kind of where I'm at is my parents are 2 of the hardest working people that I've ever met. Dad, blue collar, water guy, worked for a water company, and my mom worked at grocery stores, eventually a grain elevator, just, super, $14, $15, $20 an hour jobs, but busted their asses, and they worked their asses off to give me what they could through my childhood. And though I wouldn't say that when I left college to join the corporate world, I took that work ethic with me to the fullest extent, I think as I matured and grew and I was able to reflect back on that upbringing, to see them put in, 8, 9, 10-hour work days, then come home, cut the grass, clean the house, do all the things they had to do.
Yep.
When I was feeling like sorry for myself, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, like they worked 100 times harder than I do and literally made 1/1000th of the money. Like, man up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I definitely think that work ethic has installed a lot in me. I love what you said about those 2 stories, but the other thing I would say that I learned a lot from my parents and growing up is what I don't want to be, and what I don't want to do, and how I don't want to handle situations. So when I look back on them now, I love them. They're my mom and my dad. What are you going to do? But when I look at the people, it's not who they are as though they're bad character people. They're great people, and they love me and I love them. But when I look at their life and how they handled adversity and how they handled conflict and hard times and self-pity and victimization and all these things that I see in them constantly. Again, I hope they never hear this because they'll take it offensively, and they won't. They don't do technology.
We'll make sure and email the clip to them.
but when I look at all those things, I learned a lot from that of who I don't want to be.
Yep.
You know, I think we can all say this. Do you have any kids?
I don't.
Okay,
No.
so when you do, if you do someday,
I will eventually.
One of the big things in parenting is that I always focus on is I don't want to be what I had. I want to do better than what I had. I want to show up in ways that they didn't. And I think everybody does that naturally, even if you had a great childhood.
Yes.
I still think, nobody's perfect. Everybody's parents are fucked up in some way, shape, or form. We all are, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you can reflect back on that and I can look at them and say, I need to be a better dad than my dad was in this way. I need to be a better mom than my mom was to me in this way. Now, there were things that they taught me that I'll take with me too, but you don't really remember the good things. A lot of times you remember the bad things.
Yeah.
So I focus on that a lot to try to make sure that I'm leading a different life and going down a different path than how I was raised. I'm thankful for how I was raised, but that's not the life I want to live. And it's not the life I am living.
Sure. Yeah, no, I learned a lot, I think, from my dad. He owned a wine and spirit store for pretty much his whole life. I mean, he started that at really the same time in his life that we started our marketing company, and really seeing, I think, how, he interacted with people. I worked at the store, right? Since I was 8 years old, 6 years old, I started dusting wine bottles. That was my job, and he'd pay me whatever, a couple bucks, to go dust some wine bottles. And eventually, working behind the counter, he had a deli there too. So, and just seeing, it's always nice to be able to see, a business owner and kind of in that interaction. And then, of course, in how that comes home to play, right, as well.
That's hard, man.
Yes.
That's hard.
Yeah. And he worked his ass off. And seeing that has definitely instilled I think my work ethic. Because, the work ethic for people nowadays, and we kind of talked about this beforehand, and I think that has something to do with the hiring difficulties, of course, as well, is it's almost like there's not enough hardship now, and people don't see it. And their, parents hide it from them. They hide the hardship. The kids don't go through it. So then it's the time for the real world. They graduate high school, and then it's not what they envisioned at all.
Right.
It's like, this shit's going to kick you in the ass every day,
Yeah.
every single day. And you're going to have to figure out a way around it, figure out a way to move forward to improve yourself and things like that. And it's just like, I don't know. We're almost losing people at this point to wanting to work hard, build something with their life. And it's a very odd place. So before we started talking, briefly, we talked about hiring, where it went wrong with COVID, kind of what changed. And I think this kind of leads us into that conversation as far as, are people just soft now? What happened? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I definitely think that that's the reality of the culture and the society that we're in right now. I think that we have become soft.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the younger generation has become soft, and it is hard to find hard-nosed, hardworking people that are willing to embrace the sucks of life. Like, that's what I refer to it as. I mean,
Yep.
it sounds so ridiculous, but there's so much of it that's just attitude. I got an email from my accountant yesterday, multiple six-figure quarterly tax estimate. Wasn't really ready for it.
Yeah.
Kind of caught me off guard. And I was like, God damn. But then I'm like, and I was pissed
Mm-hmm.
for about 20, she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I was pissed. And I was like, I didn't plan well enough for this. And I'm good. I got reserved. Like, it's fine. But
Yep.
in my mind, the account that I wanted to have that full amount in there was short. And so to me, I'm like, man, I didn't plan well enough. Like, where did I go wrong? Where did the communication broke down? And I was pissed that I owed these taxes. But then I'm like, do you understand what you're saying right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a multiple six-figure quarterly tax estimate and you're bitching.
Yep.
Is this really reality? So it's so much of life is attitude, and it can be on any scale or level. It can be losing a $15 an hour job, right? I mean,
Yep.
that sucks, and you're going to be upset, and it's a kick to the teeth. But if you can just learn to just handle things as they come and just man up, woman up, however the hell you want to think about it, and just embrace it, you can go so far in life just by doing that.
Yep.
And our younger society does not have that as much as, I think, at least I'm 40. I know I only look 25, but I'm 40.
That's right.
No, but my generation for sure is a difference. But, man, I'll tell you, my average employee is, we'll say, upper 20s.
Mhm.
So maybe 28, 29, maybe
Yep.
30.
Same.
Right in there. And man, like it almost makes me emotional. My team's never been at a better place than they're at right now. And I don't have a B player on it. This is the first time in 12 years in business I can say that.
Mhm.
I don't have a B player right now. I have nothing but A players. So they're out there. They're just harder to get. It's costing me more money. It's costing me more venting.
Yep.
Vetting.
Vetting,
Sorry, I
yeah,
used the wrong
yeah.
word. More vetting.
Mhm.
I've had to change my interview process to try to dig into, do you really care about work? Like,
Yeah.
do you really take pride in what you do? Are you really gonna,
What questions
Suck
do
it
you
up.
ask to get into that?
How
How do you figure that out? We're hiring a big sales team right now. We're making a big push on that, and asking those questions in that interview process are super important.
They are situational.
Okay.
Okay. So to me, everybody comes in interviews prepared to tell their fucking story. I had this, I did this, I took this from here to here, I sold this much. I get rid of it as much as
Proficient in Microsoft Word. Yes, we get it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You can fucking type. It's 2023.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, I get rid of all of that shit, and it's all situational. So if you were here and this person said this, how would you respond? If you didn't know this and this happened, what would you do? If you had this deadline and you were this far behind and it was somebody else's fault, how would you handle that? So it is situation after situation after situation, and then I'm cumulatively scoring these as I go. So to me, it's a 1 through 5 scale,
Okay.
right? So I got a middle of the road, slightly above, slightly, you know what I mean? And it's 1 through 5, and I'm number grading that literally on every single answer. And I have 2 other people on my team that have to actually develop their questions, which are different than mine.
Mhm.
There might be some overlap, and they're also grading it out. So we take this is how I feel. I like her. I like him
Out of the equation.
out of the equation.
Yep.
What's the number?
Mm-hmm.
What is the number? So we turned it into a system where it's not about, tell me about your background.
Right.
Tell me about your hardest day at work. You know, man, everybody's ready for that shit. Everybody. Put them in situations that make them think. I can also tell a lot about a person about how they respond to that question, how quickly they respond,
Mhm.
and how on their feet that they are. So we're in the same business, right? So salespeople, look, man, if you're not on your toes, you're going to get bulldozed.
Yep.
Account managers, you're going to get bulldozed. If your client calls you and is like, what the hell's going on with my numbers or sales or down, whatever. Like, if you can't instantly think on your feet, you're going to get ran over.
Mm-hmm.
So I put them in those situations where they don't have a choice. And man, I can tell you sometimes 5 minutes into that, I already know they're out. I don't even need to ask the rest of the questions.
Yeah.
Like, I can just tell just by how they handle themselves that it's not going to work.
Do you still finish the interview?
I do.
Okay.
Sometimes I might cut off the last few questions, and just get straight to I'm not going to waste my time or
Sure.
theirs for that matter. It's not
Sure.
just about me. It's their time too.
Yep.
Like, they need to go find where they need to be. It's
Mhm.
just not in my company. And that's okay. We're not the best company. We're not the only company. There's a home for everybody. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's situational questions with an actual grading scale is what we have done. And it's really changed the game a lot.
I like that. I'm literally going to go back and change some of my interview process after this, because we have some situational stuff, but yeah, it's some of the same questions that everyone asks. It's what are your
goals?
What are your proficiency? Yeah. I do like, though, one question I do like is, if I were to give you $1 million today, what kind of company would you start?
That's cool.
I do like that, because that'll give you a good idea of what they're actually interested in. Is it marketing? I mean, is it business development? Is it doing anything that we're even doing at our company? Or are your goals completely somewhere else?
Right.
And if so, obviously that doesn't line up to probably what we're doing at our company.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's a big thing you have to get comfortable with in these situations, right? Like, not everybody's meant for me. I'm
Yep.
not meant for everybody. And that's okay. I cuss a lot in my interviews. We talked about this, like, when we jumped on the podcast. I'm like, hey, man, I got a bad mouth. Do I need to filter this? You're like, hell no, you're good. But I'll cuss. Literally, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, are you okay with, like, open language? Because I just need you to know that fuck is said about 700 times a day inside of this office, not just by me, but by all my employees. And if that's offensive to you, that's okay. I'm not mad about it, but this is who I am.
Yep.
This is the culture of my organization. Like, it's all love here, but we got bad mouths. And if that's offensive to you, we're not a good home for you, and that's okay, And I have had people that I can tell the second that I said a cuss word, they were like, oh. Like, man, I'm not going to be able to go to church on Sunday after what you just said.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's okay. God bless you. Go to church, do your thing. It's just not a fit for
Not a
me.
fit,
So
yeah.
I'm trying to filter the culture and the situations. That's over and over and over again.
So you said A players.
Mhm.
Now, did the B players filter themselves out of your company, or how?
Yeah.
Usually, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that, and what we've found, even at Vi and at our holding company, is that the more A players we get, the B, the C, the D, the F, et cetera players kind of almost weed themselves out.
They do. They absolutely do. They feel the pressure.
Yep.
When an A player kicks their ass and goes right past them that's been there half the amount of time, and they start to get bigger accounts, they start to get more responsibility, they start to get, circumstances and situations where I'm leaning on them to give feedback, not the person that's been there longer. 2 + 2 = 4, man. It's not that hard, right? So they do weed themselves out. We're just, we're in a tough environment to be a business owner and to hire people right now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm paying entry level type of people, which has basically been my model over the years. For the most part, is I'd rather grow somebody than hire somebody that has experience, because most of the time in my experience when I've done it, they have so many bad fucking habits that I spend more time trying to fix them than I can just developing somebody the way I need them to be.
Yep.
But I mean, hell, it's costing about 50% more for that same person than it was just 5 years ago.
Yes.
50%. That's a 40K person that's now 60. A 60K person that's now 90.
Yep.
And it's like, it's a lot of money.
Clients are going to have to pay more for that too.
And our prices have raised 3 times in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be in a situation now, and I don't mean to sound arrogant at all, but like, I don't chase business anymore. Like I did a long time. I had to for a very, very long time.
You
but
got
now
to at first. Yeah.
it's just pure referrals. So I don't have to really sell much anymore. It's already sold before the conversation starts. So having higher rates I never even get questioned, like ever. So as I'm sitting here saying it, going, I need to raise my fucking prices again.
I haven't gotten a no in a while based on price. It's time to increase. Yeah.
And look, man, if somebody doesn't want to work with me because of price, they should have never worked with me to begin with.
Exactly.
I don't want to work with them.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
Well, so we always try and work with winners, meaning just like a lawyer takes on only winning cases if they're like a personal injury attorney, right?
Right.
It's like, I'm doing this for free in exchange for essentially we win this case. I'm going to get paid off of that.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we do at Vi, is like we only want to work with winners, meaning the business owner has to have a winning attitude, meaning they're going to work with us and be a partner, not just a client.
I love that. I say that all the time.
Yeah. And number 2, I just lost my train of thought.
It's good. It's okay. There's only one.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, well, and anyways, I don't even know what
you
want to
work with winners. I shouldn't have interrupted you.
Yes.
Bad.
Yeah. No. So winners. Yeah. So winners in terms of the client, but also in terms of us being confident that they're going to be a winner if they choose to use us too.
Yeah.
So we don't take on a losing case, right?
Yep.
And that helps us out a lot, because then we're able to say, setting expectations, I think, is a big thing with marketing companies.
Always.
Digital marketing. It's like, if you're setting the wrong expectations, you're going to piss people off. And that's how people like you and me have to get into conversations with people, and obviously not so much anymore, but used to get into conversations with people. It's like, why am I using you? I've been burnt 7 times by different marketing agencies.
I still
And
have
it's
those conversations all the time, though.
It's insane. And it's insane.
It is, but man, that creates opportunity.
It does.
It's a way for you to separate yourself, right? And I have found that the more candid that I am, the more black and white that I am, the more direct that I am, the more I don't need you and you don't need me, but if we want each other, we can do this. That's what works, and it's opportunity. Man, I've been doing this for I mean, you're young. I was doing this before and you were like a child, but
I'm only 29.
Are you 29?
Yeah.
I thought you said you were younger than that. So I was still doing it when you were a child. You were in high school when I started this. But man, back in the day, Yellow Pages, AT&T, like they started, when the phone book started to fall apart, this is how far back I go, they had to get into digital, and man, their product was the most atrocious, god-awful shit you can begin to comprehend. And every small business that built their business off of the phone book, that's why you see like AAA towing, AAA cleaning, AAA, it's just so they could be #1 in the phone book under the section, right? Well, now like they just trusted Yellow Pages because that's what they had been built on up to that point.
Yep.
And the product was just horrible.
It still is.
Do they still even have it? Man, I don't even run into that stuff anymore. I don't deal with businesses on that level much.
I believe
I didn't even know they had it.
I believe that it was Dex YP.
Dex,
So,
I remember
Dex
hearing that.
YP,
Yeah.
and then I believe that Thrive is now their company. THRYV.
Never even heard of that.
It's like an all-in-one platform. It's
terrible.
bullshit. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in our industry, it's never going to end. And the other thing is, we're in the performance-based industry.
Mm-hmm.
I get fired, you get fired.
Yep.
Shit happens.
Yep.
Right? Like if it was that easy, we wouldn't have businesses. People would just go do the shit on their own. It's not. They don't have time. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the scalability. They don't have anything. They can't do it, which is why they hire us. So,
Yep.
but we get fired. Like
Mhm.
it's part of it. Turnover is always a part of it. It's just the business that we're in. That's never going to change. I have these talks with my team all the time. They'll lose one of my account managers loses a client and be devastated. Like
Mhm.
I'm like, look, I know it hurts, but if I'm not upset, you can't be upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like
Yep.
it's okay.
We'll get another one.
Yeah, it sucks, but I've already got it filled. It's
Mhm.
fine, you know?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, sorry. we got a little off topic there.
No. So going back to hiring real quick.
Yeah.
So COVID happened. Actually, let's go back. So hiring before COVID was way simpler, right?
Oh yeah.
It was pretty much you threw an Indeed ad up. You had 1,000 applicants immediately.
At least
and
hundreds.
It was
within like a
literally
week.
you surfing and swimming through those to try and find the people you wanted to reach out to. Now it's you put an Indeed ad up and you're like, where's my money going? I'm getting 2 applicants and these people are not who I'm looking for. So a couple months ago, I forget what I was reading, and they were talking about how apparently the ages of people like 20 to 40 working ages, there was tens of millions of those people now no longer working. Able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Where did they go? I don't understand where they went,
Dude,
or what they're doing now. It's not, you can't drive Uber forever. You
I
can't
think
DoorDash forever.
the only thing I can come up with is that COVID killed 7 trillion people, not whatever they said it did.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. No. In all seriousness, I don't know. I mean, I know we were kind of talking about this before we jumped on here. I don't know where the people went. That is the one thing I don't understand. Like people say, oh, it's government handouts. Bullshit. It's not government handouts. I don't care what your political agenda or view is or what side of the line you're on. There are not, at least in Missouri, I know for a fact, like they've been gone for years now.
Yeah.
There are not COVID handouts. There are not government handouts. You can't be on unemployment forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I have a really hard time believing that a 22 to 26-year-old college graduate is living on welfare. So they're not getting food stamps and welfare. Man, I do not know where the people went. I do not understand it. I have heard some explanations. You and I talked about one.
Yeah.
You got a lot of 20 to 30-year-old, I guess you call a 30-year-old a kid these days.
Yeah.
Living at home with mom and dad. I can't comprehend it, but maybe.
Mhm.
I've heard a lot of moms basically, got laid off or had to work from home through COVID because of whatever and said, fuck it, I'm just going to be a mom. But my whole thing is, okay, so let's say you got mom and dad. Let's just say they each make $70,000,
Mm-hmm.
$140,000 household income. And mom says, I'm just going to raise the kids. Can you still afford that home and the cars and the groceries with the world that we're in right now of $70K?
Absolutely
I don't
not.
believe you can.
No.
So that explanation doesn't work for me. I do not know where the people went. I do not understand it. I cannot get a good explanation. I've read a couple amazing articles that outline like a dozen different explanations, and maybe it's just accumulation of all those.
of
But
them?
I really don't. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
That's the only explanation, is it's a ton of different factors. So you got, well, let's just say, the whole thing is like a lot of people died from COVID. That's why. It's like, if you look at the people that passed away from COVID, for the most part,
Dude, the average age was like 70.
Right. So they're
those
no
were not
longer,
the people that are looking for
they're
jobs.
no longer working. Exactly. So then you got, okay, they passed away. Did their money get passed down to those kids? And then is there literally enough deaths that make up life insurance, estates, trust to
I
get
don't
past?
think so.
There's no way.
There's no way.
So I don't. And then maybe it's Uber. Maybe it's everyone's driving DoorDash, and it's like, but that you add up how much money you make on there, you ain't making shit. You're hardly making minimum wage. If you add up your cost, you're a contractor. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay gas and the car and everything else. It's like, I go to Chipotle, I see a DoorDash person sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for an order. I'm like, that is burning money.
That you're making $3 on
Yeah.
after you deliver it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just and you know, it goes back to my middle class family thing. Like I grew up low middle class. Like again, I'm old, so this we'll say was 25 years ago, 25 to 30 years ago, we'll say in that time frame or whatever. We'll just look at that. Like, yeah, I mean, making $40,000 then was a lot different than making $40,000 now. I get it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's probably what each of my parents made was like 30, 40 grand. Okay. Well, I just try to understand like, okay, so if two people are these days making the same job, making 60 or 70, I mean, I don't know how they're living. Like I talked to my wife. I just told her this a couple weeks ago. I said, do you have any idea how blessed that we are?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we need groceries, you just get on this app and it's at the door. You never look at how much it is. We don't even think about that. Like
Yep.
we eat steaks and seafood. Like, do you have any idea how blessed we are to not even have to think about that? Because most people are right now.
Yes.
Like most people are. And that scares the hell out of me to think about the middle class. The middle class runs this country. There's more people in the quote unquote middle class than any class by far, right? I don't know how people are doing it right now. Like I'm struggling to understand it. So I've been aggressively
Credit
raising
cards.
Man, and that is
Debt.
a fact.
I think it's debt.
It is well, it's a fact. Like there's been numbers
Everyone's living the
released.
same. Everyone's living the same. I was talking to a financial planner that all of his clients, you know, he had millions in assets. And he was saying that even those people are about to default
Wow.
on car loans, on credit card, just because with
If that shit starts happening, you better buckle up.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, you got the people that should be, you know, the credit-worthy ones that are always going to pay.
Right.
I mean, if they're folding,
That's bad.
it's not good news. That means
Yeah.
everyone's going to be folding. And which brings me into something here. So real quick, coming recession. So is it coming? I'll preface that with I'm on Reddit a lot. I'm on St. Louis subreddit. For all of you listeners, please feel free to go on there if you're from St. Louis. They got some good stuff. And there was a massive post them talking about how home prices are still through the roof in majority of St. Louis. People are still getting cash offers for $50,000 more than, you know, offers of just, you know, say you and myself, right?
Yeah.
Are going to purchase a home. And meanwhile, like we just said, you know, debt is going through the roof. We have a potential debt, you know, default coming. It doesn't make none of this makes any sense to me, and I don't know how to make any sense of it.
I don't either. I don't either, man. It's you know what's sad? I don't know if anybody knows what the fuck's going on,
Yeah,
including our government.
yeah,
I truly don't. I'm not sure that anybody truly understands what is going on. I mean, I'm sure that I know home prices. Well, I don't believe that I know that they've peaked per se. I don't think they're still climbing like they were. I mean, hell, I flipped a lake house a couple years ago in the Ozarks. I flipped a lake house in 10 months for $100 grand. I didn't do anything to it. I bought it and sold it 10 months later for $100 grand more.
My biggest regret is not buying a house in 2020.
Oh yeah, man. It's so my home in Kirkwood we built. It's according to Zillow worth about $400,000 more than I bought it for in 2019.
That's insane.
It's insane.
But then you sell it. What are you going to do?
You're gonna go get
You're going to go get screwed somewhere
You're gonna
else.
get screwed somewhere else.
Right.
And that's a big thing right now. You know, like I'm sitting on a lot of cash, ready to get aggressive in the real estate market, but you're fucked right now because prices are at an all-time high and interest rates are high. I'm fine paying a high interest rate because I can always refinance it. But I'm a price shopper,
Yes.
right? I'll pay a high interest rate for 2, 3, 4, 5 years if I have to, and then I'll refi it. But you can't pay them both.
Yes.
Which they did this on purpose, right? They're trying to slow this down. And I do believe that it slowed it down. I'm not sure where the end is. And, you know, this whole recession talk, are we going to have one? Are we in one?
We're in it. We've been in it, apparently.
Are we?
By definition.
By definition.
Well, they just
I get it. No,
they just
you're
don't
right.
want to say it.
I understand.
They just don't want to say it.
But it's like,
No one's acting like we are.
no,
And
that's for sure.
And that's the problem.
It
and
is.
that's why debt's going through the fucking roof.
It's scary, man.
Because you don't, as inflation increases, and if you're not making any more money, you're spending more. Hence, you got to cut spending somewhere. If you're just going to continue spending the same amount, you're screwed.
Yeah. People are going to be in trouble, man. I hope that people are being smart about their decisions. Anybody that's listening to this that is, in that under $100,000 income. I mean, hell, man, $100,000 isn't even what it used to be. But I just hope that people are being smart. Like, you don't need an Escalade.
Yes.
You just don't.
Yes.
You don't need an Escalade.
I saw, what's the average price of a new car loan right now? Hold on.
So
It's like people are spending $800-900 on a car loan.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking insane.
And to think about,
I cannot believe, like, I make good money, but I'm like, I have other stuff I want to do with my life.
Sure.
Life's
all about
I got
priorities.
investments. I want to make money with my money. That car will never make you money. Now, I know some people will say, well, buy a Lamborghini, it'll get you into the car club and you'll be able to make money that way.
Dude, I've
sure. I mean,
no. That's
I feel
bullshit.
like that's just a way for you to say I wanted that damn Lamborghini. Just say you wanted the Lamborghini.
I'm telling you, man, I've had exotic cars. I've owned half a dozen exotic cars. I've made money on almost all of them because I bought a lot of them over the last few years and flipped them for a profit. I've got a couple allocations coming up that I'll probably take just because I know I can flip them.
Yep.
I'm over it. Don't care. It's bullshit. Honestly, I don't like people driving. Man, I see people literally drive down the interstate next to me taking pictures. I'm like, look at the fucking road or you're going to run us both off this thing. Like, I don't like attention. I think it was an ego thing I had to go through.
Yep.
Where I feel like I had something to prove. I mean, one of my mentors is Andy Frisilla. Obviously, you know who he is here in town.
Yeah.
But, like, I love Andy. I've always looked up to Andy. And, he has this car thing. And I think that was a lot of what pushed me into it. And having people in my circles that had, so many exotic cars and shit. It's like I felt like I had to do it. But I would buy them. And they would sit in my garage on a battery tenor, and I would drive my truck. And I'm like, this is not who I am. I'm done. So I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done with that. That phase is over for me. It was fun while it lasted. I probably put 4,000, 5,000 miles total on exotic cars.
That's so funny.
And it's a fucking waste. Like, it was a waste. But I did make some money on them, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, the whole car club thing's bullshit anyway. Half the people in there are leasing them and whatever. Man.
Yeah. It's like
way more posers, man.
Yeah.
Way more.
Well, I've been a car guy since I grew up, and I don't know where I get it from. Well, maybe I do. My dad's side of my family, back in the 20s and 30s, there was Browns Club Racing, something like that. They built stock cars back in like the 30s and 40s and were really successful at it. So maybe I get my car love passed down from genetics, but I've always wanted a Porsche GT3, 911.
Yep.
And it's never been because I want people to see me in it. It's because I fucking want that car.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you do.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. And look, man, I don't judge anybody that wants
and
to do
maybe
it.
I won't like it when I get it, but I let me tell you, I'd be pissed off if I don't like it.
So mine was a Turbo S convertible 911,
Okay.
and I got a brand new one.
Yep.
2022, I got an allocation, brand new. And I got a manual.
Yep.
I ordered it. I built it to spec. Drove it for about a month, and I was like, could give a shit less.
Oh my God. It
Just
hurts.
didn't care.
My heart.
I didn't care. I didn't care. I just did not care. I'm driving a brand new 2023 Range Rover right now. Dude, I love that thing. It's comfortable. It rides nice.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to get a new one every year or so, and that's where I'm at now, and I'm still got my truck, and that's it for me. I'm done with that phase. But look, man, I'm not shitting all over owning cars. Everybody do what they want to do. I have $1 million boat.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my thing. Like,
Yep.
I love boating. I love my boat. I love being on the lake. It makes me happy.
So you got a place at the lake then?
I got a place at the lake. We got a awesome place, man. 6 bedrooms right on the water.
Nice.
Like, I got a beautiful boat. Like, that's my thing. That's where I spend my stupid money. And if you want to go get a Porsche, then go get a Porsche. I don't give it. But everybody has their own thing, we're talking about dumb shit that's not relevant to a lot of people. But my fear is these people, every soccer mom right now is driving a new Escalade, a new, brand new Yukon or whatever. These things now are $80,000, $90,000, $100,000.
$100,000 for an SUV. It's insane to me.
I'm like, you don't do this. I'm scared for that. I'm scared for people.
Yes.
Like, it just scares me. Like, it's
well,
stupid.
then you see people making 40, 50K, and they're driving around a ridiculously nice, super nice car, and they're spending that. I mean,
half their paycheck.
All of their money is going to their car and rent.
It has to be.
And then how else do you have money for anything else?
You don't.
Like that's it.
And look at groceries now, where they are.
Yes.
I
Katie's like, that's me.
mean, I mean, look at how much groceries cost now.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I asked my wife, I'm like, how much was the grocery bill? Just out of nowhere, she's like, I have no idea. I'm like, I'm just curious. Like, look it up. She's like, it was like $480. I'm like, how often do we get fucking groceries? And she's
It's
like,
like that was 3
every
days
week.
ago. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you know, like what is going on? You know, it's
2,000
crazy.
a month actually doesn't sound that bad though. But then you add up going out.
$2,000 a month for groceries?
for 4 people?
I mean, dude, my 3 and 6 year old eat
Oh,
like a
yeah,
handful of
that's
food.
true. That's true.
I mean, like, it's like a Capri
fair.
Sun, you know,
Yes.
and a banana. It's like,
I look at how much I spend on food and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I need to buy a cow. I'm like, I need to literally just buy a cow.
there's a lot of validity to that. I
Yeah.
have a Wagyu coming. I've got half of one.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you order that from?
One of my employees, actually, her parents have a farm up in north of here. I'm not from St. Louis originally. I can't think of it.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We'll say it's about an hour north of here.
Okay.
They got a farm up there.
Okay.
And
So they have. So it's not Japanese Wagyu though.
it's American Wagyu. But
Interesting.
but
I didn't know they
still.
had American Wagyu.
they basically, I think, if there's any livestock people out here, don't shit all over me.
Yeah.
But I think
we don't know what we're talking about.
I think they kind of cross. I think they bring a Japanese and they take an American and they do their thing. And then
Interesting.
So you get it. They're still really, really good. So I got
Okay.
half of one of those coming.
Okay.
This year, I think it'll be.
That'll be tasty, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I'm a big steak guy. I think you have to cook those differently. I'm not too sure.
I've cooked them. Well, they're super rare. Like RPM Steak up in Chicago. I don't know if you've ever been there. That's one of my favorite
I
restaurants.
haven't. No.
Dude, I don't even know the Wagyu shit that they have up there. I mean, it comes out and it's like
4 ounce, 2 ounce pieces?
for like $350.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't even know how you call that steak. Like when it hits your mouth, you don't even chew it. It just like it's like a popsicle of steak. It just dissolves. I'm like, that's a whole nother world. So
Interesting.
that type of stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, this is still kind of like our good old steak, just a little better.
So where's your favorite steak place in St. Louis?
Oh, my backyard.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Man,
I was just in West Yellowstone with my family, and we tried to find a good place to eat anywhere around there. We ordered $40 steaks, and I swear to God, me blind and no taste buds or anything could make a better steak than they did. And it was just like, I'm glad I don't live in an area where there's no good restaurants because I would
Yeah.
freak out. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
yeah. I mean, I just actually went to a place out at the lake that blew me away this weekend.
Really? At the Ozarks?
Tavern on the Bend.
Okay.
It's only a year old, and it's only like 2 miles from my lake house. And my wife and I kept talking about it, and I retired my in-laws and moved them here, so they help us with our kids. So we like had a date night. And we went out and they took the kids, and man, it blew me. They make everything from scratch there. Their chef's like been in the game for like 30 years. But their filet was fantastic, but everything there was fantastic. It's one of those places where like, you know, they bring out the ranch and they're like, we make this from scratch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is Hidden Valley, you know.
Yeah.
And then I take a bite and I'm like, oh no, that's not fucking Hidden Valley. That's some good shit right there. But it was fantastic, and I can't wait to go back. But that was at the lake. That's probably the best steak meal I've had around here. I mean, where do you go? Where do you love here?
Annie Gunn's is good.
It's fantastic.
It's good.
It's really good.
Ruth Chris.
Nah.
So Ruth Chris, you know what's so funny about them is they're owned by the same food conglomerate that owns Capitol Grill as well.
Okay.
And Ruth Chris is just so average. I can't get over it.
It's so average.
I can't get over it.
Honestly, man.
For the
I'd rather-
price, it's insane.
I'd rather go to Texas Roadhouse.
I'm
In all honesty,
yeah.
I'd rather eat a fucking steak at Texas Roadhouse than Ruth Chris.
100%.
It's just, I'm being honest.
Well,
I
they
really
bring that
would.
hot plate out. It's like, get that shit out of here. I remember I ordered medium rare, and they got the 180-degree plate.
Yeah,
And then by the
it
time
was medium
gets,
well by the time you cut it
by
open.
the time it gets to you, it's like, what the hell is going on? I don't know. Annie Gunn's is good. Citizen Kane's in Kirkwood is good. But I was there recently, so don't hate me. And I had a ribeye that just was not good.
Really?
And it's been like, and then I'm like, shit, I don't know where to go now.
If you want to splurge and you're up in Chicago ever, RPM steak.
Okay.
Like, be ready to spend $1,000. But
Fair.
but it
Whatever.
would literally, it'll blow you away. I mean, like, blow you away. Like just whatever the most expensive shit is that you've never heard of, just order that
Yep.
and roll with it. I mean, I'm going up there in a couple weeks. I don't know if you're a country music guy, but I've got Morgan Wallen tickets at Wrigley Field, and we're flying up on my buddy's jet. He's here in St. Louis. We're taking his plane up. He actually has a lake house in my neighborhood at the lake. So his jet's coming to get us at the lake. I know this is first world problems.
Yeah.
We're flying up to the concert, and we're going straight to RPM Steak.
Nice.
And then going to that concert and coming back to the lake the next morning.
Are you wearing adult diapers at the concert?
Why?
Did you see this? Did you guys see this?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. This is a thing.
Going,
Dude, I'm not into this stuff, but educate me.
This is a thing that's going on right now. Apparently, women will wear adult diapers to Taylor Swift concerts
because
so they
she
can.
performs for over 3 hours straight.
And they don't want to miss 1 minute.
No, and I can't blame them.
You're a Swiftie.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Kansas City,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna wear a diaper.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You
I'm
know-
not gonna drink anything.
Dehydrated. No, I mean that's what I do on road trips. I'm like, I ain't drinking.
Yeah.
I am not drinking when I'm on a plane. Right when I get off a plane, though, I'm chugging water.
Yeah. No, I hear you there.
But yeah, they're wearing adult diapers.
Dude, she's a phenomenon. I mean, clearly, right? Like, I know if
I don't
if I
get
heard
it.
her songs, I would know it. But I'm in a tunnel and I'm old.
Dude,
Like,
men,
I'm out of
men
touch.
and Taylor Swift, we're just like, we don't get it. That's one of the things where I don't get it.
Dude, you say that, but I keep seeing, like, I saw Aaron Rodgers was there and he was all into it, you know? And they're like, we're Swifties. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this
All right,
world?
I'm
Like,
taking Aaron Rodgers down a peg or two for that. That's
oh, he was there.
was
dude,
he there with
killing
his
it.
kids at least?
No. I don't know if he has kids. I don't think he has
Gordon
kids.
Ramsay was there. Paul Rudd. Like,
Dude, JJ Watt.
yeah.
I don't.
Like, he's
I
a
don't-
man's man.
I don't
JJ
get it.
Watt was there. He's a Swiftie. I'm
I
like,
don't get it.
what the fuck is this?
I don't get it.
I don't either, dude.
I know one song, and it's
you know more than that if
I know-
you heard him.
No. Off top, I know the one where all she does is sing about getting broken up with.
It's getting dumped and
That's-
dumping.
That's
We got a Swiftie defending behind the glass.
all right.
Before you move on, go ahead and do the ad read for our sponsor.
Okay. What do I say again?
So all you guys say is, hey, look at the camera. We're
Oh,
going to
yeah,
go to
that's
our
right.
sponsor.
All right.
And then you say, hey, welcome back.
We'll be right back with a word from our sponsor.
You nailed that.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our sponsor, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee. Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance is recruiting agency owners here in St. Louis.
That's right, Garrett, and everyone knows what Farmers Insurance is, and if they don't, they will now.
Yes, it's kind of a household name. That said, as many of you know, a large part of our audience is made up of badass business owners, entrepreneurs, and top producing sales professionals with an open mind like yourself. Farmers Insurance is currently searching for driven individuals who aspire to own their own business or already own their own business and want to add another income stream to join the Farmers Insurance brand and own their own insurance agency.
This is a stellar opportunity to build your own insurance agency from scratch, take over an existing agency, or if you're just a slow roller, we know you the guys out there and ladies, get paid to train under an existing successful agency owner before starting your own.
Holy shit, Eric. That means that whether you have experience as a business owner or you've never heard the word business before in your life, there's a pathway to owning your own business through Farmers Insurance Agency led by Mark Lee.
That's right. You can become a Farmers Insurance business owner even if you've been homeless in the past, just like you.
Yeah, thanks.
If you've ever dreamt of being your own boss, building a team under a reputable brand, and making a difference in your community by offering top-tier auto, home, and commercial insurance to consumers and businesses in your area, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the godlike man himself, Mark Lee, has the perfect opportunity for you.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com to speak with Mark Lee, the district manager of Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, to become a Farmers Insurance agency owner today.
Did you hear that, St. Louis? Go visit insurancecareerstl.com. Insurancecareerstl.com. That is INSURANCE. Career, CAREERSTL.com.
To become a business owner today, again, one more time, visit insurancecareerstl, as in St. Louis.com today. right now, this second, or reach out to us at stlouispodcast.com and we'll introduce you to Mark Lee ourselves. And I promise he won't spell out insurance and career to you.
Now back to the show. Now we're back at it. All right. So we were just talking about Taylor Swift and how we don't understand that shit at all. Let's get into another thing you don't understand, but I watched a video on the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, man, I'm out of the loop. This just came out. Fill me in.
So this thing is $3,500. It's
Yep,
going
I
to come
saw
out
that.
next year. Now this thing is amazing though. I'm not an Apple guy by any means. You can see I have an Android. I will be switching to Apple because of the USB-C thing in September. But there's like cameras all over the outside, of course.
Okay.
That way, obviously, visually, they can see like where your hands are moving and things, but there's no controls, right? And then on the inside, they have infrared sensors that follow your eyes. So say, for example, you're at like sitting here, you put it on, then all of a sudden you're at a workstation, like you have 2 monitors. You can look at stuff and it can track your eye to a T on where your eye is. And then you can just sit there and click. This is your click. So you just sit
What's
there.
attached to your finger?
Nothing. It knows you. This is click. It knows you're touching your fingers together to click.
Wow.
So you can sit there. You can just sit there. You don't have to have your hands.
So we're just getting fucking lazier.
It's insane.
Now we can't even move a mouse. Now
That's
we just
right.
tap our finger.
That's right.
Wow. Life is getting tough when we can't move mouses.
It's crazy. But, and then it's almost like it's so weird if you look at it from like like you can obviously let light in, right? So you can see like visual surroundings. And it's like a visual representation of your face when like you can see through. So if someone's using it, you can see through see through the screen essentially. So it's just a screen visualization of their face. It's not actually their face. It's very weird, but
Wow.
it's going to be crazy. Like
So you're all in. You're going to be in line.
I definitely want to buy one. Yeah. 100%. Like I didn't like the MetaQuest Pro. That thing was stupid. I looked at that. This blows that out of the water. And it was so funny because I was just curious. So Meta, they spent like over 500, 600 million on inventing the MetaQuest Pro, which obviously didn't work out well for them. Apparently Apple spent $1 billion on this.
Okay.
But the thing is, I don't see it as being a product that everyone's going to use. Not everyone's going to buy a $3,500 product.
Well,
So it's
first of all, back to what the shit we were just talking about. Not everybody can afford a $3,500 pair of goggles.
Exactly. Exactly right. So then it's like, how are they going to make their money back? Well, is it going to be like version 1
It's got
or version 0, essentially, where they're just going to open up to the developers? They're going to make it badass,
I'm sure.
drop the price, and then release it
Scale
to people.
it.
Yeah.
I would guess something like that would make business sense.
Yeah.
Right?
But I had
So wait,
no
do you
idea.
walk around with this, or
You
is this
can.
like
2 hours of battery.
okay?
So if you want, it's literally a movie theater. Like if you're on a plane, throw it on, you can watch
Now
a movie
I'll buy
like
it
you're
for
in a
that.
movie theater.
Now you just sold me.
Yes.
$3,500 I'm in if I can just put my goggles on and watch it on planes.
Exactly.
And I can watch movies and it's like surround
Yeah.
screen.
Uh-huh.
I'm in.
Yes.
I need to get another pre-order.
I know. It's coming out next year. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. I was super excited about that. And usually I'm not a tech geek by any means, but
Me
I was like,
either.
this is cool as hell. This is awesome. All right. On to the next thing. Did you see Pence is running for president?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Why?
Let's get into politics for a second.
Let's do it.
We're choosing from a bag of shit right now. I don't understand what's going on.
You got Dumb and Dumber. It just depends on who you think is dumber.
Yep.
You know, man, I definitely lean. I'll just get straight to the point here. I definitely lean to the right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I'm a moderate conservative, if
Sure.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, man, I know we could take the risk of offending some people, but there's still people running around that think that gay folks aren't gay.
Mhm.
And like they just woke up one day and decided to like the same sex. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, so I mean, there's some realities to life here that
Yep.
I think that the right has to accept. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. As a moderate conservative and as somebody that leans to the right, I can tell you that I don't know what in the fuck is going to happen here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a guy that's running the country that can't stand up or
You
talk.
see him eat shit on stage the
I
other
did.
day?
Can't stand up, talk, or read. Okay, against a guy that he beat.
Yeah.
He beat his ass. I mean, he beat him. Like, don't tell me the elections were rigged. I'm not saying they're not somewhere here and there, but He beat his ass. It wasn't close.
He did lose, yes.
So my thing, I mean, what happens? You know, and
well,
again,
if it's them two, I just see this turning into a nuclear fucking war in the United States.
it might. It's scary. I mean, I personally would rather have Trump back in the office just based on the track record of what he did on look, you can hate him all you want. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But on paper, what he got done for the economy, which in my opinion, as a voter, is the number one responsibility of the president, is the economy. It's the number one responsibility. And he did that.
His biggest failure was COVID.
His biggest failure was his mouth.
Yeah, that too. Policy standpoint, COVID, though, because he listened to Fauci the whole time.
I know.
Which is
joke.
I don't know. He was like people like right now, conservatives and Republicans hate COVID. They flame, but everyone forgets he was the one that did Operation Warp Speed.
He did.
He was the one that started the $1 trillion+.
He did.
So, and he was the one that listened to Fauci the whole time he was in office.
He
so
definitely did. But I will say that pendulum changed, right? It shifted, and at a certain point in time, and this is the shit that people forget so easily.
He still thinks that Operation Warp Speed was a good thing.
Well, here's the thing that people forget so quickly and easily. There was a point in time in this country, and somebody can fact check this shit. I could be slightly off. But there was literally a point in time in this country where every single blue state was still closed.
Mm-hmm.
We had to wear masks and do crazy shit. And every single red state was wide open. Like, people were fucking dying.
Yep.
And it's like you cross the state line, you don't have to do the same thing that you did before you crossed it.
Yep.
It's beyond comprehension. But people forget that shit. I never will. Like, I never will forget that, and I will hold that against the left forever.
Mm-hmm.
Forever. Like, and I have voted Democrat before. Like, I have. But that, I truly think this pandemic, and I'm not one of these people that, look, people died. I'm not one of these people that says it wasn't real. Like, it was real. It was bad. Like, I get it. But I will never be able to forgive what Democratic-controlled cities, states, counties.
St. Louis County.
Dude,
and he's still there.
Still there. Got reelected.
I don't understand that.
It got reelected, and I don't either. But, man, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. It definitely scares me. I'm hoping – if you're a Democrat right now, this is my thing. If you're a Democrat, you're confident that he's your guy?
There's no way.
How can he beat – he can't talk or walk.
They're not going to have him debate.
I know. They already said that because he can't.
Yeah, well, they'll use arguments. He's going to be, Trump. He won't debate Trump because, let's just say, for example, he didn't, he stopped democracy from happening on January 9th. So he's not going to share the stage with him. He won't. They're not going to share the stage with RFK Jr., even though he makes a ton of fucking sense.
Yeah.
Except his voice annoys the shit out of me, which we talked about.
Well, it's been said before that he can't be on stage without a script in his hand because if he goes off, it goes off the rails. Like what came out in the media where the reporters sent their questions in like a week ahead of time.
Did you see that? Yeah, I saw that.
And he was reading off the cards.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been busted multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. How many fucking people are in this country? 350 million?
360.
The best we can do are 80 fucking year. Dude, would you hire an 80-year-old right now? Actually, don't go on record and saying that because somebody's going to slap a lawsuit on you.
Not them.
Is anybody...
But most likely not.
Is anybody in this world interviewing 70 and 80-year-olds to work for them if it's not like... at Lowe's, to do some part-time or something. Is anybody interviewing 70 and 80-year-old people to work for them right now? The answer is no. Yet these are the people that are running the most powerful business on earth.
Yep.
Earth.
Yep.
Literally. It's the most powerful position on earth. And these fucking people are 80 years old. They're unemployable in normal jobs.
Why is there not a max age?
There's
a minimum age.
Dude, term limits in other positions. I mean, I agree, dude. I can go on and on and on. But that's why these younger, that's why Obama won, man.
Yep.
He was a change. He was young. He was energetic. He was a great speaker and communicator.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't his policy. No. It was who he was as a man. That's why he
won.
All
he was Bush 2.0.
I mean,
did the same shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's hard to comprehend where we're at. I don't know where we're going. But I'm going to go on the record right here. This is the only podcast I've said this on. I've said this privately to people.
Here we
I
go.
want to go on record This is my prediction. Joe Biden is going to get out somehow, some way. The obvious reason would be he's sick with something, okay? The ultimate X factor, trump card, if this person comes in from the Democratic Party, it's fucking over. I don't care who's running against her, Michelle Obama.
You really think she'll run?
I don't know if I think she will run, but I will
Why
tell
would
you
she?
she will
win,
crush. She would crush.
But why would she run?
Why would anybody run? You make
Yeah.
$400,000 a year.
Well, they're
It's
already
the worst
rich.
job in the world.
Obama's already rich.
True. They all are. Well, they don't go in rich. They come out rich.
Correct. Exactly.
With that
But they don't need it.
$400,000 salary.
Right, right. Well, it's like Ron DeSantis. I was kind of pulling for him, but he's kind of
Bought.
and also he's just not charismatic.
I like him.
He's just I don't know what it is.
I like him, but he definitely feels a little bit greasy.
Yeah.
And he's definitely been bought.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, if Trump could have just not been Trump.
Yeah. But then he wouldn't have won.
He's exactly what this country needed, though. Whether they're from the right or left doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We need an outsider
Mm-hmm.
that's a businessman. I
Yep.
believed in everything that he stood for through that lens, right? Dude, everybody is bought by everybody. They're
Yeah.
all on the same team working against the people. I'm fully convinced of this.
That's a fact, yes.
Right?
100%.
So we needed a Donald Trump. We needed somebody like that who wasn't bought, that could come in and disrupt everything, which is exactly what he did. But the problem is who he is and how he communicates and how he handles people in situations. I mean, the fucking guy calls people names, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But he could have been the best thing to ever happen to this country, in my opinion, from a political standpoint of where we're at right now. But he blew it.
Yep.
He blew it. It was such a unique opportunity. That's why, I always hear Mark Cuban's name thrown in. I'm like, we need somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody that's
they're not gonna do it.
They're not. Why would they?
There's why exactly?
Why did Trump do it? Ego. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Well, I'm like Elon Musk, dude. Be president.
Yeah.
He can't though. He can't. Literally the person that is paid maybe not the most in taxes, but
He's up
some of
there.
the most in taxes of all time in the United States can't be president, which doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's something that should be changed. And actually I heard a good argument for it. It's and that was exactly it. It's I can build a massive company, employ thousands of people in the United States, but still never become president because I wasn't born here.
Yeah.
It's if you're here for 35, 40, 50
Who cares?
why can we not just get the best?
We just need the train on the tracks.
Yes.
Because right now it's off bad, right? And I don't know what the solution is.
It's going around a turn where it's oh shit, we're either about to come over or pull this back here.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting couple years, that's for sure. But here's what I know. There is a fucking plan on both sides.
Mhm.
And if anybody out there doesn't think there's a plan, you're crazy.
Yeah.
The plan has been made.
Yep.
There is a plan. Both parties have a plan. And there are trump cards, no pun intended, that are going to be pulled here at some point. I truly do not believe that any party in their eyes can take the risk of losing again with the candidates that are forefronting this right now.
Yeah.
So I find it very hard to believe that both parties don't have something up their sleeve. But Mike Pence, dude, come on. That's what you kicked off with. Dude, go away. Dude, nobody likes you. Nobody ever liked you. You have no shot.
You were just the VP.
Yeah, dude, go away. Just go away. So I don't know. I'm telling you though, y'all watch out. Michelle Obama is that Trump card.
That would make a lot of sense. That would be the smartest move by far.
She would kill.
Otherwise, they're gonna Gavin Newsom?
He'll get crushed.
Well, he should.
He should.
But maybe he won't.
Michelle Obama, you should run away with that shit.
No, she would easily.
She would run away with it.
Yeah.
And then all of the minority boxes that we get to check, and the first female and the first black, second black, whatever.
Yeah.
Then everybody can be happy that we did all this.
Yeah.
I love her as a person. I love Barack Obama as a person. I'd love to go shoot golf with him, he seems cool.
Yep.
I don't exactly love him as a president, and I wouldn't want her as a president either, just because my policy and beliefs are different. But she would crush.
100%.
Crush.
She would.
We'll see.
That's smart. I think that brings us to the end here. We'll wrap up, let you get out of here. I know you got some important business to take care of. So without further ado, before we wrap up, anything you want the audience to know, social media profiles, business, any plug?
I'm pretty easy to find, but my most accessible place is definitely on Instagram, and I am at Chance, Chans, B as in boy, Weber with one B, so Chance B Weber is my handle. I can be reached there. Yeah, man, I do a lot of speaking. I'm trying to cut them back quite a bit, to be quite frank. Too much time away from the family, and I'm a homebody. I don't like being gone, but yeah, man, I do speaking engagements. Obviously, digital marketing. I know this isn't the place to plug that because you do it as well.
Hey, more power to you.
But yeah, man, if I can help anybody, I'm always happy to have chats, and I check my DMs like once a day and get back to as many people as I can, and try to stay up to date in there.
Cool. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. That's all the time we have for today. However, the St. Louis podcast will be back next week at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time with a new episode, new guest, and unfortunately, maybe Garrett will be back and more of myself, Eric Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live or later and we said something wrong, said something you hate, or said something you want to hear more about, which I'm sure we did today, you can visit us at stlouispodcast.com, leave us a message. Feel free to, again, DM Garrett, tell him how much you missed him on this episode. If I said, or Chance said anything that you didn't like, feel free to let us know. Finally, this episode was recorded at Half Coast Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're looking to start a podcast or take your podcast to the next level, please reach out to them at halfcoaststudios.com. It's been a pleasure talking with you today and a pleasure hosting this podcast for the people of St. Louis. We'll see you again next Friday. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our sponsor, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee. Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance is recruiting agency owners here in St. Louis.
That's right, Garrett, and everyone knows what Farmers Insurance is, and if they don't, they will now.
Yes, it's kind of a household name. That said, as many of you know, a large part of our audience is made up of badass business owners, entrepreneurs, and top producing sales professionals with an open mind like yourself. Farmers Insurance is currently searching for driven individuals who aspire to own their own business or already own their own business and want to add another income stream to join the Farmers Insurance brand and own their own insurance agency.
This is a stellar opportunity to build your own insurance agency from scratch, take over an existing agency, or if you're just a slow roller, we know you the guys out there and ladies, get paid to train under an existing successful agency owner before starting your own.
Holy shit, Eric. That means that whether you have experience as a business owner or you've never heard the word business before in your life, there's a pathway to owning your own business through Farmers Insurance Agency led by Mark Lee.
That's right. You can become a Farmers Insurance business owner even if you've been homeless in the past, just like you.
Yeah, thanks.
If you've ever dreamt of being your own boss, building a team under a reputable brand, and making a difference in your community by offering top-tier auto, home, and commercial insurance to consumers and businesses in your area, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the godlike man himself, Mark Lee, has the perfect opportunity for you.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com to speak with Mark Lee, the district manager of Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, to become a Farmers Insurance agency owner today.
Did you hear that, St. Louis? Go visit insurancecareerstl.com. Insurancecareerstl.com. That is INSURANCE. Career, CAREERSTL.com.
To become a business owner today, again, one more time, visit insurancecareerstl, as in St. Louis.com today, right now, this second, or reach out to us at stlouispodcast.com and we'll introduce you to Mark Lee ourselves. And I promise he won't spell out insurance and career to you.